ساعت الان 3:37 ورودی فرحزاده پایین یه ساختمون مسکونی زده شده.
This is Yair Pinto bringing you Boots on the Ground live. I'm here with Mati Shoshani, and the latest news from Israel is that a few minutes ago, less than an hour, Israel struck in Iran. And I repeat, Israel struck in Iran. So I'm here with Mati Shoshani bringing you the whole truth about what is happening now in the Middle East. The preemptive strike in Iran is underway, and Israel attacked nuclear targets. Iran enriched fissile material for 15 atom bombs. Israel just launched a preemptive strike, and dozens of nuclear facilities were hit. Israel Katz, the Israeli Defensive Ministry, stated that Iran planned a missile and a UAV attack against Israel, tried to eliminate. Israel is now striking in Iran, and this is a special situation that is going on all across the country, as the home front is on the highest alert, and all school, all educational gatherings was canceled up until further notice. A missile and a UAV attack is expected in retaliation from Iran against Israel. So this is called Operation KeLavi, which is a nation as a lion. After a dramatic 24 hours, the report came true, and Defense Minister Israel Katz announced a preemptive strike by the State of Israel against Iran. The IDF stressed that the goal is to hit the nuclear and the missile program and not to topple the regime. The Home Front Command activated an emergency alert nationwide, and the public was asked to stay near protected spaces. Thousands of reserve soldiers were called up so far, and the Air Force is striking in Iran as we speak. And after a tense day in which numerous dramatic reports were published about the Israeli preparations for an attack in the coming days, the Islamic Republic is now under attack by the IDF. The IDF just stated that dozens of Israeli Air Force aircrafts completed the opening blow, which included a strike on dozens of military targets, including nuclear targets in various areas in Iran. The chosen name for this operation is KeLavi, and Defense Minister Israel Katz announced at the start of the operation that he hereby immediately declares a special situation on the home front throughout the entire territory of the State of Israel, and the Home Front Command activated emergency alerts across the country and asked the public to stay in protected spaces. Following the State of Israel's preemptive strike against Iran, a missile and a UAV attack on the State of Israel and its citizens' population is expected in the immediate term. This is according to the Israeli officials. So the Fars news agency reported explosions in Tehran after the start of the operation, and the Iran International site reported hits to residential buildings where senior military officials and politicians live. The Sabrin news agency, which is identified with the pro-Iranian militias in Iraq, reported explosions in the skies over Baghdad. Mati, how did you wake up and heard everything that's going on here in this situation?
Well, I woke up abruptly, I think, like we all did. but not to make light of this, we've been waiting for this to come for a very long time. And now that this has happened, we can say that for the last, give or take 24 hours, there was a lot of intel going on saying that this was happening. And this is a war, and this is an attack we've been waiting for very long. I want to update and say that, as we're going live here, there's initial confirmation saying that much of the Iranian military heads and intelligence heads have been struck in this attack. So let's call it Central Command for the Iranian army has been attacked, including the Chief of Staff for the Iranian army. And this is big news. This is Israel targeting the heads of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, Israel targeting the heads of the Islamic regime that has been swearing to destroy the state of Israel for many, many years. And you can hear this in the statements made by the military spokesperson about an hour ago, where in a very, very clear way it said, look, this is a war we were forced into. It's been decades of this Islamic regime threatening and promising to destroy Israel. They've been pushing for a bomb nonstop. We've been waiting for this to happen, and now is the time to take action. It's been a very, very dramatic day here in Israel. I think anyone who is still in active duty, myself included, the army is on high alert. Many of the units are getting ready to be called back in, and the civilian population too is at a very, very high level of readiness. Myself, my family included, yours obviously too, Yair. It's been a very, very dramatic night, and I think this is just the beginning. And to remind everyone what we're looking at here, we're at the end of I want to say, decade-long battle, or actually longer than that, against the Iranians, trying to prevent them from reaching nuclear military capability. And people keep asking, why is it important to stop Iran? Why did Israel have to attack? Well, let me say it this way. Iran isn't just another country. It isn't the UK that has nuclear capabilities. It isn't the French. It isn't the US, and it isn't Israel, according to foreign press, which we are, I guess. This is a very, very different situation. Iran is a radical Islamic government, that is sworn to destroy the people of Israel, and they've been pushing their economy, their ability, their people towards building a nuclear bomb or nuclear bombs to attack Israel. And they've made it very, very clear over many months of negotiations with the US and also through intermediaries, but before that they have no intention whatsoever of giving in to the demand to dismantle their nuclear program. And that's where we are today. We're at a place where they made it abundantly clear to everyone involved, the US and Israel included, that they're not going to give up on their nuclear program. And now that we know that, Israel had to strike. And what we know initially, to chime in with what Yair was saying just a second ago, is that many in command of the Iranian army and officials in the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, have been struck, including most likely the chief of staff for the Iranian army. And more importantly than that, there are bits of information saying that several nuclear facilities, including the one in Natanz, has been struck, which is something that, again, was coming down the pipeline. We knew this was coming, and the world is watching. As this is happening, people around the world have been watching. We're looking at changes in the stock market. We're looking at the fact that if thousands of people are being called immediately back into reserves. It is a dramatic, dramatic day that we're living in, and one might even say a historic day to be watching this. This is a government that's 2,000 kilometers, over 1,000 miles away from Israel, that has sworn to destroy the state of Israel, to destroy the people of Israel and the way of life of both us and the West. And Israel had no choice but to preemptively strike and destroy this violent regime that has been sworn to attack us. Yair, how has the night been for you and your family? How are things on your end?
Well, Mati, we woke up this evening to multiple sirens, alarms, and also new sounds from our phones and smart devices that not encouraged us, but told us to go to bomb shelters and to prepare for a long stay, for something new that we haven't seen before. So first of all, the technology in Israel went up a notch. This is not just another missile from the Houthis in Yemen. This is a whole new level of threat. And at the moment, the country is waiting for the response from Iran towards the airstrikes that hit their nuclear facilities, their key personnel, and their military installations. And guys, for those of you that are just joining us now for this live update, I'm Yair Pinto, and I'm here with Mati Shoshani. We are on TBN Israel YouTube channel. This is the channel that brings you live updates on a daily basis of what is happening from Israel. So guys, if this is your first time tuning in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and keep watching us, because we are here to let you know what's happening, boots on the ground style, from Israel, so that you'll know how to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Okay, this is an unprecedented moment that we are living in right now, Israel struck Iran. I'm talking about airplanes striking precise targets in the Islamic Republic of Iran related to Iran's Revolutionary Guards Corps, related to their nuclear military installations, relating to key leadership in Iran. And this is a country 2,000 kilometers away from Israel. The strikes were precise. We did not receive any updates or any information of any kind of casualties on the side of the Israeli Air Force in this attack. And at the moment, thousands of reserve soldiers were called into action with a mandatory order to go to their units, mainly in the anti-aerial defensive units of Israel, talking about the Arrow, the laser beam, the Iron Dome, the David Sling, and all the other aerial defensive systems that Israel has. And on top of that, also divisions from Judea and Samaria to come and protect the Israeli communities from any kind of possible Palestinian terror attack against the communities of the State of Israel. This is the situation now, and this is all started as of 3 a.m. here in Israel, and we are still waiting for the response from the Islamic Republic of Iran. At the moment, I have water ready in my bomb shelter, and lights and a radio. And this is the situation in Israel. We are prepared for a strike that will be longer than the 10-minute missile launches from Yemen.
Yeah, can you hear me? We have some breaking news here. Iranian sources are saying that there's a good chance that the head of the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, has been taken out in this strike. And I need to emphasize how important this actually is. If you think about the mechanism through which the Iranians export violence to the world, the IRGC is that tool. So we're looking at symbols of the Iranian government, the chief of staff, the head of the IRGC, that are, according to Iranian initial reports, they've been assassinated in this initial strike by Israel. And what's interesting is the choice of words. Israel is saying this is the first wave, first meaning there are more to come. The Iranians are reporting on high-level officials, and we've already seen images, and I think some of them are playing on your screen, of the level of devastation, and I want to say this, accurate targeting within Iran of officials that have been to the people of Israel. And that's really where we are today, at a very, very, very accurate pinpoint attack against targets within Iran. This is something that has been in the works for years. The Israeli government, and I think people around the world might forget this, Prime Minister Netanyahu has been, among many things, he has been a champion of pushing for an attack on Iran, pushing for a route that isn't just sanctions, because we knew the desire of the Iranian government to spread violence and to essentially get to a bomb ultimately. And today we're in that place. We're in a place where a preemptive attack was the choice that was left in the hands of Israel. And we've been calling on this channel, and I think many other people have for a long time, calling on governments to take action, because it was apparent, it was abundantly clear that Iran was pushing for a bomb. The latest reports that came out over the last couple of weeks from the IAEA, the International Agency of Atomic Energy, they indicate that Iran has the material to create between 10 and 15 nuclear bombs within weeks, as in they have the enriched uranium to reach that point, not necessarily the final package to do so. So we're on a clock. We're with a deadline where action against the Iranians was necessary, and that's what we're seeing tonight. Targeted attacks throughout Tehran against the heads of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, the chief of staff for the Iranian government, and others, chief scientists in the nuclear program. And according to multiple reports coming out of Iran, also targeted attacks against facilities related to the Iranian nuclear program. People in Israel are and have been for multiple hours now at a very high level of readiness. Thousands of soldiers have been called back into reserves, and the Israeli army is on high alert. I can't disclose much, but I can say myself, and I think everyone else with a active reserves unit has already been on the phone with their unit tonight, because Israel has been gearing up towards this attack for a very long time. And I think people might be asking at home what the sentiment is with Israel. or in Israel right now. And I need to tell you people that people in Israel for weeks now have been waiting for this to happen, because we knew one way or another we must deal with the threat of the Iranian bomb. And it was just a question of when and will the US be involved in this. And the last couple of days have shown a very interesting chain of events in which both President Trump, Minister of Defense Hagseth, and several others in the US government have very boldly, very strongly stood beside Israel, stated clearly, look, whatever you think is going to happen, Israel is going to have the right to attack. It's just a question of, will the Iranians, just before the buzzer, change their plans and give up their nuclear program? And in recent days, it became very clear, very publicly, that they had no intention of doing so. And that brings us to today. An ongoing attack of the Israeli Air Force across Iran, dozens of Israeli jets flying through the skies of Iran and bombing strategic and tactical targets, both targets of the nuclear program and otherwise heads of the Iranian government, specifically the IRGC and the Iranian government. The reports are saying that it's possible that many members of the Iranian government have been targeted in this attack. And this is a question that's been in our minds for a long time. Why not target the heads of the Iranian government? These are the people indoctrinating their people, shifting their entire budget, pushing their military to act against the state of Israel. And we're today at a place where we had no choice but to preemptively attack Iran.
Yes, yes, definitely, Mati. Yeah, I just heard that on top of the sophisticated Israeli aerial strikes that took place with the Israeli Air Force, the Israeli Mossad, which is the secretive intelligence agency of Israel, was also behind the scenes, underground in Iran, orchestrating targeted terminations of the leaders of Iran, specifically the leaders in charge of the rocket attack systems and infrastructure that can carry out attacks against Israel, and the anti-aircraft defensive systems of the Islamic Republic to enable freedom of aerial strikes to our planes, to our aerial capabilities, to basically neutralize the Iranian counter attack against Israel. We'll see how well that happened, and also to hit the nuclear facility that, as you said, had the capability of producing between 10 to 15 nuclear bombs. And the Iranians have carried out multiple ballistic missile testings that can carry up to 20 tons of explosive devices on a missile warhead. So they were not far from creating a nuclear bomb and then also being able to attach it to a rocket and launch it towards Israel or towards other places in this region. This is the situation now. But as we said, the country of Israel is strong. They're ready for every situation. We are not afraid. We have been waiting for this moment. We are in war for a very, very long time. And the Home Front Command gave instructions to the country that didn't change so far. The instructions include a ban on educational activities, a ban on gathering and workplaces, also not going to schools, not going to kindergartens. So in addition, the IDF said that people should stay near protected rooms and near shelters, and whenever possible, avoid taking cover in stairwells and other places that are more covered in the situation. And guys, for those of you that are just joining us now to this live broadcast of TBN Israel, I'm Yair Pinto, and with me is Mati Shoshani. And the big news all across the world is that about an hour ago, Israel began an aerial strike against Iran, against its nuclear facilities in Iran, in Tehran. And I repeat, Israel struck in Iran. So I'm here with Mati Shoshani, and we bring you this whole developing story, boots on the ground from Israel. The preemptive strike in Iran is on its way, and Israel attacked nuclear targets that Iran enriched fissile materials for about 15 atomic bombs. And Israel launched a preemptive strike hitting dozens of nuclear facilities. And the Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz said that Iran planned a missile and UAV attack against Israel. Israel tried to eliminate Iran's chief of staff and actually succeeded in taking out the entire, a bunch of the leadership of Iran in this strike, as well as nuclear installations. And we are now waiting and preparing for a report on a strike in retaliation for this attack. Mati, do we have any other updates on the situation now?
There isn't a minute without an update. So again, I'm recapping here on the list of people that have been targeted in this attack. Iranian television is now saying officially that the head of the IRGC, Hossein Salami, I honestly, I couldn't remember them. They've changed several times. Hossein Salami has been killed in this attack. The chief of staff of the Iranian government has been attacked, and the footage coming out of Iran is fascinating. You're seeing just a couple of the images here, but what you can see if you look at some of the footage coming out of Iran, and I encourage people to look this up on different platforms after you finish watching this live here, you'll see targeted strikes on many, many different apartments inside Tehran and throughout Iran, where you can see clearly a missile hit an exact target. This isn't carpet bombing. This isn't arbitrary attacks. These are targeted tactical attacks against heads of the regime in Iran that has been calling on their people, pushing their people to build a bomb against Israel. And I think we need to remind people, one, I want to say this, it's so encouraging to see all the support that we see from people during these live broadcasts, and to know that people are standing with us. And I want to say this to people around the world. People think, we're isolated, etc. Look, my phone, and I'm sure yours is, Yair, too, and everyone else in Israel who has international friends, my phone is blowing up with people sending messages of support from around the world, because the world has been watching and waiting to see this happen, waiting to see the showdown where Iran is removed, at least to a certain degree, from their ability to manufacture nuclear bombs. And they've been on that race for a very, very, very long time. They've been on the race for creating a bomb against Israel for years and years now, and we must stop them. We have to stop the Iranians, and that's exactly what Israel is trying to do. And look, it's been a dramatic season here for us in Israel. It's been a dramatic season for people around the world. I'm sure yourself included, Yair. And we're waiting to see what the aftermath of this attack is. Everyone in Israel is sitting tight, waiting for the attack to play out. Now back to you, Yair. Let me know what things are looking like on your end.
Well, yeah, Mati, definitely. It's very hard to catch up with all the information and the news that's coming out from all the news agencies here in Israel. We are waiting to see what the Iranian will do in response for this unprecedented strike 2,000 kilometers away from the borders of Israel. They have been threatening the Jewish state with annihilation, with missiles. They call Israel the small Satan and the United States the big Satan. And this is, when Israel is being threatened, we take these threats very seriously. And when our arch enemy, the Islamic Republic of Iran, is getting closer and closer to reaching nuclear bombs, the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, and the State of Israel stated many times that we will not wait and sit idly by for negotiations to drag themselves for months and months. And in the meantime, the Iranians will enrich more uranium and develop their missile programs. So Israel struck Iran, struck the military installation, struck the leadership of Iran now, and we are waiting to see the results of these strikes. So far, we see that we have information on multiple Iranian leaders that were taken out, and we are receiving reports of a dramatic update. Mati, can you let us know what's happening?
Yes. So we're back. By the way, I lost my camera just a second ago, just in case anyone was wondering if this is live. We're looking now at the 5th wave of attacks in Iran. So the Israeli Air Force, and it's hard to emphasize this, I woke up to the sirens originally And then my kids and myself stood outside of the house, and we could hear wave after wave after wave of the Israeli Air Force flying overhead towards Iran. Now we're talking about the fifth wave of attacks in Iran. So again, the Israeli Air Force has been flying throughout the night a vast distance, 2,000 kilometers or so, so over 1,300 miles, all the way to Iran to strike targets. And what are the targets that we know they've been striking? Heads of the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, heads of the Iranian army, heads of the government's chief scientists in the nuclear program or Iranian nuclear program, and of course facilities directly linked to the Iranian nuclear program. And I think a question needs to be asked here, and this is what many people are probably wondering: will this stop the Iranians? And I think only the next day or so will let us know what really will happen with them, because Iran has spent decades and tens of billions of dollars on developing nuclear infrastructure to attack Israel, and they've diversified their portfolio as far as it goes in spreading out the centrifuges and the research facilities, and the missile facilities throughout the country, many. So here's what a new update that's coming in. The New York Times is reporting that at least 6 different bases around Tehran have been attacked by the Israeli Air Force. Multiple compounds of high-level ranking officers in the Iranian government have been attacked, and many residential buildings around Tehran. So what we're looking at is targeted assassinations against heads of the IRGC, heads of the Iranian nuclear program, and these are people that for decades have been spending their life, their energy, the budget of their country, trying to build nuclear bombs to destroy the people of Israel, and after that, also the West. They haven't been shy about sharing this information with the world. They've said so many times over every possible stage, and it's about time that everyone believed them. And that's why Israel is striking right now in Tehran. The news coming in right now is fifth wave of Israeli Air Force attacks in Tehran. An amazing evening. I don't want to make this sound too positive, but this was something that had to happen. Now that the negotiations failed with the Iranians, and it became abundantly clear that they had no plan whatsoever of dismantling their centrifuges or giving up their stockpile of enriched uranium, we know we had to attack. And that's exactly what we did. We're recapping here again. Israel's been on high alert. The civilian population has been called to stay next to, what do you call it in the U.S., shelter in place, stay close to shelters. More than that, tens of thousands of soldiers have been called back into reserves or prepped to go back into reserves. And we're looking at an unprecedented wave of attacks across Iran, fifth wave of jets attacking in Iran as we speak. The Iranians reporting on multiple heads of the government. Let me read you some of the names. Hossein Salami, the head of the IRGC. This is a terrorist organization funded by the Iranian government that has a budget of tens of billions of dollars every year. So Hossein Salami, their head, has been assassinated. I apologize in advance to the families of these people for mispronouncing their names. Ghulam Ali Rashid, the head of the fighting forces of Iran. So this is the Iranian chief of staff. He is also no longer with us. Predun Abbasi Dawani, a chief scientist in the Iranian nuclear program. He's also confirmed to be assassinated. Mahmoud Mahdi Taharajni, a Iranian physicist, also likely part of the Iranian nuclear program. So these are high-level individuals. My guess is that everyone else in the Iranian government is currently hiding in a bunker somewhere, if they are still with us. And the Israeli Air Force continues to strike in Tehran. An unprecedented night, a historic moment in the history of this country, and something we've all been waiting for a very long time. Back to you, Yair.
Yes. Yeah, Mati, definitely. So we're just receiving additional reports that Israel's entire aerial force, all the planes in the Israeli Air Force are in the skies now, involved in this operation, preparing for counter defensive measures against any kind of retaliation. And we hear and receive reports from United States officials that all the talks about the United States not defending Israel in case they attack in these coming days were planned and coordinated in order to numb the Islamic Republic of Iran, in order to keep them thinking that Israel will not strike them at this very moment. Everything was coordinated, and now we receive reports that the United States will indeed defend Israel in case of any kind of Iranian response. So they did it before, and the allies of Israel in this region helped us against 250 ballistic missiles and 200 drones that were fired at Israel twice in the past 12 months. And our allies are with us again to defend Israel. This entire strike was taken part by the Israeli aerial defensive system. Again, Israel is in charge of this strike, but the United States is here to defend us against any kind of Iranian retaliation. This is the situation now and the reports now that we have on the ground. And Mati, do you think we have time to answer questions from viewers? Somebody has any question on the situation?
Can I ask the first question? And I think this is the one everyone's mind has, which is Israel able to stop the Iranians? And this is something we've been asked time and time again for, it's been over a year now as we're prepping for this attack. Can Israel stop the Iranian nuclear program on its own? And there's a couple interesting things that have happened here. One, the American government said, trying to think who it was. It's been so many news bits coming in the last couple hours. The American government said that Israel was attacking and the U.S. wasn't part of this attack, which is interesting to show of separating the U.S. forces from Israel and from what's happening here. And Israel is attacking targets. Again, the Iranians have dozens of nuclear facilities. We're talking about missile manufacturing. We're talking about centrifuge sites. We talk about storage locations for enriched uranium. But Israel is doing something slightly different. Instead of going after the entire program, what we're doing targeted assassinations against the heads of the IRGC, the heads of the Iranian nuclear plan. We've read through some of the names of the people that have been assassinated. It's a very substantial group of people that are no longer going to be able to try to build a bomb to attack Israel. And I think that's the big headline tonight. This isn't carpet bombing of Iran. This isn't like just a generic attack. It's targeted against individuals who've dedicated their life to try to destroy the people of Israel. And those people, on a biblical sense, on a legal sense, on every possible level, have publicly said, we're coming to destroy the people of Israel. And this preemptive attack is exactly what they had coming. It's such a blessing and such a joy to see all the responses we have in the comments right now. If people are new to this live story and this live technique, you can just tap on the corner. There's a chat that's going on, and we're going to pull out some of the comments that are coming.
Mati, just a minute. I have just an update from our back-end team here that Israel struck at least 6 military installations surrounding Tehran, the capital of Iran, and these include military bases, including Partzin, which is a very known military base of the Islamic Revolutionary Guards. And according to the reports, also Iranian officials were struck, including houses of Iranian officials in Tehran and in the area surrounding Tehran. Again, this is a precise strike that was carried out by the Israeli Air Force with direct intelligence information on the ground in Tehran. This was a surgical strike that targeted the leadership of the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps in Iran. It targeted military installations. It targeted nuclear scientists and leaders in the nuclear program of Iran. And at the moment, Israel and its allies, the United States and other regional powers in this region, are gearing up for the Iranian response. And the whole Middle East and the whole world is waiting to see what is happening. And Mati, as you said, yes, we have time for some questions.
Yeah. So let's see what people can pull up on the screen. There's been a whole lot of support. I think that's like 90% of the comments here are people from around the world coming in. Look at the difference. Too fast. Let me look at some of the comments here myself. Trump is helping. You can be assured Israel knows the U.S. is backing them. Yes, we absolutely know that. Someone is saying here, I don't think they're supportive of Israel. Israel, stop bombing civilians. Stop making American pay. We're not. We're not bombing civilians. We're bombing the heads of plans. Let's see what else. What we have here.
Should attack next Iran's air force capabilities.
Any questions that anyone needs to answer, you let us know. Yair, I think an interesting question to answer would be, how did we get to the point where Israel feels like it has no choice but to attack in Iran? And just earlier this week, can you hear me, Yair?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
Just earlier this week, there were reports that came out that said, it was on Monday, that Trump had asked Prime Minister Netanyahu to hold off on attacking Iran. And Tomer, our director, and I were talking about this, where that wasn't exactly what happened in the conversation. What happened in the conversation was Trump said to Netanyahu, look, we're almost done with the negotiation. There's just this one last piece. Then we're going to attack. And also a very stern reminder to everyone that if the Iranians don't give up on their nuclear capabilities, an attack will come. We've been at the end of months and months and months of endless negotiations between the US and the Iranians, all trying to push the Iranians to give up on their nuclear plan, give up on their centrifuges, on enriching uranium to military grade enriched uranium, and give up on their stockpile, which has been to the number of at least 10 or more nuclear bombs worth of enriched uranium, give up on those stockpiles. And that's where we are today, at a place where Iran left Israel, and with the support of the US, of course, no choice at all but to attack them, because they've been racing for a bomb for many, many years on multiple platforms. By the way, thank you to anyone who's making a quick donation on the page. There's a quick button that's called the Super Chat, which is a little dollar icon on the bottom right-hand corner of the YouTube Live. And you can make a small donation to keep us sharing the truth from Israel, even now in the middle of the night, or it's early dawn at this point, 5 a.m. Even now in these early hours of the day, keep the truth coming out of Israel. It really, really encourages us to see how much people care about what's happening here, to hear the messages of support, to see people donating and people liking and sharing and subscribing. And guys, if you're with us and this is new to you, pause this video. And if you're one of about half of our viewers who isn't a subscriber, make sure you subscribe and you like this video and you share it with someone else so we can keep sharing the truth of what's happening here. Guys, Israel is fighting for its survival. This isn't an act of aggression. It's an act of self-preservation. We're fighting against a dictatorial, evil, radical Islamic regime that's been bent on destroying Israel, spending tens of billions of dollars per year building bombs and a terrorism apparatus to destroy Israel and the Judeo-Christian way of life. And what we're witnessing today is Israel coming against that and attacking the Iranians.
Yeah, definitely, Mati. We have reports now of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stating, following the Israeli strike on the Iranian Revolutionary Guards core installation, the citizens of Israel. I am touched this evening, and we are at a critical moment in the history of Israel. An hour ago, the operation A Nation as a Lion went on its way, and our brave fighter jets and the pilots are attacking multiple targets all across Iran. The purpose of this operation is to hit the Iranian nuclear installations. This operation will continue for as long as needed until we complete the mission to beat off the Iranian nuclear threat that is flying above our head. And I salute from the bottom of my heart the IDF commanders, the soldiers, the Israeli Air Force, the intelligence apparatus of Israel for this brave planning and execution of this very, very special operation. And at the same time, I have to tell you, Iran still has the ability to hit us, and that is why we were prepared for this moment. This is the Prime Minister of Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, stating regarding this operation. And for those of you who are just joining our live here now, I'm Yair Pinto, here with Mati Shoshani, and this is a special live edition of Boots on the Ground. Israel just struck Iran and carried out multiple waves of strikes against key leadership in Iran, against nuclear installations, against military and missile facilities in the Islamic Republic of Iran. This is a precise strike against the Iranian Revolutionary Guards and the military nuclear program of Iran. Israel is not targeting the civilian population of Iran. Israel is targeting the threats that Iran voiced time and again against the state of Israel to annihilate us, to destroy and terminate the Jewish people. And now they are one last step closer to achieving their goals of destroying Israel. And as we are speaking, we receive more and more reports about what took place and what is Israel targeting and hitting in the Islamic Republic of Iran. We know that this was not just an Israeli aerial strike. This is a planned operation that was coordinated in the back channels with the United States, with our allies, and Israel, including the Israeli Mossad, planned and executed a precise surgical operation to take up key leadership in the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, which is a terrorist organization funded by the leadership of Iran and is spreading chaos across this region. They funded Hamas, they funded Hezbollah, they are still funding the Houthi terrorist group in Yemen, they funded Iraqi militias that carried out multiple attacks also against United States military personnel in this region. This is not just Israel's fight. This is a fight for the whole free world against the arch enemy of Israel and the United States of America, the Islamic Republic of Iran. After the negotiations for a nuclear agreement with Iran have collapsed and did not move any further, Israel decided to strike the nuclear installations of Iran at a point where, according to all our estimates, Iran had the ability of creating 10 to 15 nuclear bombs. That was enough, and Israel took matters to its own hand. This is not the first time that Israel is defending itself against an enemy that wants to destroy us and creates nuclear weapons. We did that in Iraq, and now we're doing this in the Islamic Republic of Iran. Guys, if you want to pray for the situation, please pray for wisdom to our leaders. Please pray for wisdom to the leaders of our allies to make wise decisions. Please pray for wisdom to the leaders of the IDF, to all the soldiers that were just called up again to defend this country. We have thousands of IDF reserve soldiers that were called up again, especially in the areas of anti-rocket defensive systems, of the Air Force, and also defending Judea and Samaria, to defend Israel of any kind of Palestinian terrorist attacks that would like to take this opportunity and join in this battle between Israel and Iran. This is the third time that Israel and Iran are in a direct confrontation in the last 12 months, and we are still waiting to see and hear what the Iranian response will be towards this unprecedented Israeli strike that is still ongoing. We have reports of already 6 waves of strikes of Israeli airplanes on military targets in Iran. Mati, over to you.
Yeah. One, we have some very, very dramatic news happening right now. The Iranian government is now officially responding to what's been happening, responding to Israel, and they're saying, and this is a direct quote of them, Iran will declare all-out war in the coming hours. And I want to ask the question of, what does that even mean? I love that the Iranians are spreading threats, but the Iranian government for the last, most of our lifetimes, actually longer than our lifetimes, has been investing tens of billions of dollars annually. And you need to remember that number in building the IRGC, in equipping Hezbollah, in equipping the Houthis, in paying Hamas, in trying to create terrorism cells within Israel itself. They've been doing this for years and years and years, building missiles and drones, all of it with the intent of destroying Israel. This was an attack of self-defense by the Israeli government. And the fact that the Iranians are making these threats of, well, now it really means war. Look, this has been coming a long time. We've been talking about this for weeks at this point, months possibly, saying, look, we're doing the world a favor here. We know this is coming one way or another. Let's call it the action's already been taken by the Iranian government. They're on the trajectory to bring destruction and violence to this region, and they've done so many, many times. They need to be stopped. If they're not stopped, if Israel didn't attack them tonight, we would find ourselves in 12 or 18 months with Iran with nuclear capabilities, with Iran with an IRGC that's able to put a chokehold on maritime trade throughout the Red Sea and the Arabian Sea too, that sits in a place where it's able to disrupt global trade and global economies. and weaken a region that already has seen enough war and enough violence for multiple lifetimes. And that's the regime that we're attacking tonight. Israel tonight, in a historic, landmark event, is attacking a dictatorial, a radicalizing and radical regime that is the sworn enemy of the people of Israel and the Western way of life. And we're doing the world a favor tonight. We're doing the American people a favor. We're doing the West a favor in bringing down the heads of this government. We've read through the names of some of the people here that have been removed. We're talking about the head of the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, the chief of staff for the Iranian government, multiple other heads of both the nuclear program on a scientific level and a military level, multiple targets that are tied to the nuclear program. We're talking about 5-6 waves of attacks already. I don't know, you can't hear this in the background, but throughout the night since, well, it's been 2.5 hours at this point, we've been able to hear the jets flying back and forth overhead. Israel has a substantially larger Air Force than the Iranians do, of course, but also substantially large compared to the size of the country. Thank you, the United States of America, for helping us and equip that. We're hearing initial estimates from the Israeli government saying that they estimate that the war with Iran will last at least 2 weeks. That is the current expectation. The Israeli government is saying that the U.S. will continue to aid and might actually chime in with the continued waves of attacks. And we are looking at an extension of the attacks rather than them ending tonight. This isn't a one-off. We're already looking at 5 or 6 waves of attacks that have been taking place. We're looking at a long campaign of trying to put the Iranians to sleep when it comes to this attack coming, of prolonged negotiations, prolonged discussions, et cetera, et cetera. We're hearing now from the White House that Trump has assembled or is about to meet with the National Security Council later today. So this is early Friday. That's the White House spokesperson has just responded. And now we're hearing about more Iranian nuclear scientists that have been assassinated. Faidun Abbasi. So this is the head of the Atomic Energy Agency in Iran, is also no longer with us. So again, to recap, Israel has targeted one after the other Iranian scientists, heads of the Revolutionary Guard, chiefs of staff, and many other, I'll just say this, evil individuals who've dedicated their life to bring destruction and death to the people of Israel. And now they've learned what that means. We had no choice but to attack them, and we're doing it in a tactical way. We're doing it in a safe way. We're not just randomly targeting civilians within Iran, but rather we're attacking members of the IRGC, members of the Iranian government that have been dedicated to bring death and destruction. We've been going live for about 50 minutes now. We're so blessed and touched by the positive response of people here. Guys, if you're new to this live thing here with TBN Israel, well, you're here joining us live in Israel as Israel attacks Iran. Make sure you like, you share, and you subscribe. It helps us get the truth out to people around the world and keep the truth coming out of Israel, because we live in an age of misinformation and false facts, false media, and false news. And you need to hear from a source on the ground. And, well, we're as on the ground as you could possibly be. I'm in my yard, as is Yair. We're here in Israel. We're speaking the language. We're based in this country, bringing you the truth of what's happening in this land. Back to you, Yair.
Yeah, definitely, Mati. Thank you. And guys, we do this so that you'll know what's happening in Israel and so that you can pray for the peace of Jerusalem on a personal level, with knowing what to pray for, what's happening, and being connected. This war is not just related to Israel. These are the enemies of the United States of America and basically of the West at large. Iran calls Israel the small Satan and the United States of America the big Satan. And we have reports now that Israeli security officials estimate that the war against Iran, and I'm talking about the direct war against Iran, because we have been at a war against Iran and its proxies for almost 2 years now, but the direct war against the Islamic Republic of Iran will last for at least 2 weeks. And in this war, the United States will help Israel with defense, and they might even join in strikes against the military installations of Iran, and that's depending of how the results of today's strikes will appear, and if they were successful. and we will know and see what's the next stages in this attack and in this strike. So negotiations against Iran failed, and now Israel is taking action and using its air force to destroy the military installations, the nuclear leadership of the Iranian nuclear program, and we are striking precisely in key areas in the heart of Tehran, in the surrounding areas of the capital of the Iranian country, and these strikes are meant to terminate the threat against Israel, threats that they've been speaking out loud on multiple podiums around the international media. And when an enemy like Iran has the capability and is threatening Israel, and also funded and carried out direct strikes against us just in the past 12 months, Israel took this very seriously and carried out a preemptive strike against the military installations of Iran. And guys, if you're just joining me now, Israel struck and is striking Iran multiple times. We have reports of already 6 waves of aerial strikes against military installations in Iran. We are coming to you live now from Jerusalem, and behind me you can see the city of Jerusalem. You can also see Judea and Samaria. And this is the situation now. The time here in Israel is 5:30 a.m. The sun is just going up, and we are awake and from 3 a.m. In the middle of the night when we were called to bomb shelters, preparing for an Iranian response to unprecedented Israeli strikes against military installations in Iran. So the strikes are still ongoing as I am speaking now, and we have reports of 270 missiles that were struck and hit Iranian targets all across the country of Iran. And Iran is now preparing for a tough response against Israel. Iran will launch massive attacks on Israel in the next few hours. This is according to the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps. And we have additional information of that another nuclear scientist and head of the nuclear regime was attacked in this strike. So the targets are very clear: military installations, military sites that can carry attacks against Israel, including nuclear facilities and nuclear personnel. So the goal of this attack is to terminate the nuclear and the missile threat that Iran posed on Israel. And we are receiving more and more reports of successful hits and terminations of these key Iranian personnel. What Israel is doing is precisely targeting the individuals in charge of the nuclear facility that pose a threat against Israel, and not the Iranian population, not the Iranian public. What we see from images coming from Iran is that single apartments in residential buildings were struck, and not the entire neighborhoods, as Israel has the ability to do that, but is choosing to target only the individuals that are involved in running the nuclear program, that are threatening Israel with strikes and annihilation. This is the situation, and it's very important for the world to know Israel is not at war against the Iranian people. Prime Minister of Israel stated it before: we love the Iranian people, and they deserve a better leadership than the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps that is investing all their efforts, all their money, all their energy in proxies, in terrorist groups, and in the nuclear program, instead of investing it in the Iranian people. So guys, if you are here, please pray for Israel. Please pray for the Iranian people to have a different leadership, a better government than the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps. Mati, over to you.
Yeah, we're here standing at a unprecedented historical day. I want to say this, Yair, I think even in 10 years, and I'll say this differently, even after 18 months of war, I think in 10 years, in 15 years, we'll go back to this date. I need to remind myself what it is today, June 13th, the day that Israel struck Iran. And I think this is day one of multiple days of strikes I hope and I pray that the Americans join us in the attacks against the Iranians, because the number of their nuclear facilities is very substantial. We've looked at the IAEA and other reports that have come out over recent years. It is so clear how much the Iranians have spent, how hard they've worked to build a classified, a hidden infrastructure of terrorism, hidden infrastructure of manufacturing nuclear capabilities. This is a government of a nation of tens of millions of people that is spending tens of billions of dollars annually on building weapons of mass destruction against Israel and against the Western way of life. And tonight, we saw an unprecedented, a historical moment where Israel it was forced to take preemptive attacks or preemptive strikes against the Iranians to respond to what we've seen grow, this looming evil growing in the East, once again and again and again, building up against the people of Israel, trying to attack us, trying to destroy our way of life and our country. They've promised to do so over every possible stage, time and time again. And today, Israel took action. We're looking at a historical level of attacks, at least 5 and possibly even 6 waves of Israeli strikes in Iran, hundreds of missiles launched at Iranian targets, several dozen Iranian chief scientists in the nuclear program, other individuals who are involved in the IRGC leadership, the head of the IRGC, the chief of staff of the Iranian government. And my guess is we're going to be hearing names for a while. We know that multiple targets were struck that are residential buildings for the IRGC, that are military facilities that house high-level officials in the Iranian army and the Iranian government, and multiple targets linked to the Iranian nuclear program. And this was coming for a very long time. This attack needed to happen. This attack was necessitated by the fact that the Iranians were forcing a desire and a push towards a nuclear military capability, and Israel simply could not survive with Iran having nuclear bombs. This attack tonight is tactical, it's strategic, it's historical, it's something that Israel needed to do to preserve its way of life, to preserve its existence in this region. And I'm looking back at multiple weeks of negotiations that have taken place. I feel like this is a moment that has been prepped for a very long time. We know internally in Israel that the Israeli government has spent a very substantial amount of money over the past 10 or so years prepping for an attack by Iran or an attack on Iran. This includes aerial vessels, and we're talking about the ability to refuel jets in midair. And we're talking about intelligence, both intelligence gathering and intelligence creating mechanisms. We're talking about technological solutions, many things like that. Guys, if you're joining us right now, now is the time to like, to share, and subscribe. We're here in Israel on the ground, trying to bring the truth of what's happening here to the world. Help us get the message out. Like, share, and subscribe. If you're one of 2 viewers of this channel that watches and hasn't subscribed yet, well, today's the time to subscribe. I think you're going to be hearing a lot from us over the next coming days because Iran has been attacked by Israel, a historical moment. I want to recap on the response that Iran is threatening to create. We've already seen throughout this 18-month period multiple waves of attacks by the Iranians against Israel. Several instances where hundreds and hundreds of missiles and drones are sent by Iran towards Israel. In one of the biggest waves, the U.S. and several other countries fought alongside us, shooting down both drones and cruise missiles and ballistic missiles on their way to Israel. But we're here today. We haven't seen any response by the Iranians yet, and I hope it doesn't come. But my sense is we will see an attack. The Israeli government woke us up, I'd say in quite an abrupt manner. Millions of Israelis at 3 a.m. today woke us up with a warning of Israel is striking Iran. Stay close to shelter. I did the same with my kids, then sent them back to bed. We've been running this live for an hour now. We want you to know that Israel stands strong, but also that what the Israeli Air Force and the Israeli intelligence organizations are doing in Iran right now is a historic moment. The level of intelligence needed to target these people in their homes, heads of the IRGC, heads and chief scientists in the Iranian nuclear program, all assassinated in their homes. We're at an amazing place. I can only imagine there will be an Iranian response. Israel has a lot of technology and a very strong army to protect it. But again, Iran is not someone to be to be disregarded as an irrelevant adversary. They've spent a lot of money and a lot of time building up an army. Anyway, recapping here, a historic moment here in Israel. The Israeli Air Force, multiple waves of attacks in Iran, multiple executives in the IRGC and the Iranian nuclear program that have been assassinated, eliminated, multiple facilities related to the Iranian nuclear program that have been eliminated. And we're standing here now in this early morning of Friday, June 13th, in a historic moment. Again, I think we're going to be talking about this moment for many, many years to come.
Yeah, definitely, Mati. And just to recap the situation from a broader perspective, Israel has been carrying strikes in Yemen for the past few months, and the distance between Yemen and the Houthis in Yemen and the Islamic Revolutionary Guards is almost the same, more than 2,000 kilometers away from Israel. So these strikes, on top of targeting the threats from the Houthi terrorists in Yemen, were basically a staging ground and a training operation for our aerial strikes to conduct this operation against the Islamic Republic of Iran on Iranian soil. The recent of these strikes was also something that we haven't seen any time in this recent modern warfare, and that was a strike by missiles from a Navy vessel that hit the port of Hodeidah. So we are able, and I'm saying this after proof in Yemen, the Israeli defensive forces are able to carry out multiple strikes with multiple means against the Iranian targets. And I'm talking about airplanes, I'm talking about ground-to-ground missiles, I'm talking about Navy-to-ground missiles that can reach the Islamic Republic of Iran. And for those of you who don't know the distance, Iran is more than 200 kilometers away from Israel. We do not have an adjacent border. This is a country very far away from Israel that has been funding proxies and creating a ring of fire around Israel. And when I say a ring of fire, it's not just a word or a title. They funded the world's biggest terrorist organization, Hezbollah. They funded Hamas. They still fund the Houthis in Yemen, Iraqi militias. They carried out operations against Israel from Syria. Let me give you an explanation of what's happening now in this region. Hezbollah is no longer a threat as it was before against Israel. More than 80% of its capabilities were destroyed by the Israeli airstrikes and the beeper attacks and sophisticated strikes against the leadership of Hezbollah, which is no longer with us. Hamas has been diminished from a terror military to this guerrilla organization that is hiding within the civilian population in the Gaza Strip. The Houthi ports have been destroyed by the Israeli strikes because they keep launching weapons at us. Iraqi militias are also crumbling, and Syria, the Assad regime in Syria, collapsed. Basically, all the Iranian plans against Israel are falling apart, and Israel is still here. Guys, this is not just because we have an amazing military, because we are strong. This is because God is faithful to his promises to the people of Israel, and because of it, we are still here. He brought the Jewish people from across the world after 2,000 years of being scattered in the diaspora to the land of Israel with the same language, Hebrew, that we speak, and we are still here. God has a plan, and when God has a plan, he executes this plan. That's why we are still here. We are not afraid. We will be here after the Iranian response because God is faithful, and he's faithful to us. He will be faithful to you as well. And Mati, we have an update going to you now. One second. Okay, guys, so if you're just joining us now, this is Yair Pinto coming to you live from TBN Israel, and Israel struck Iran. And when I say struck Iran, not only once, it struck Iran multiple times. Sorry, guys, I have an update just now. Okay, there is another huge explosion that just took place at another nuclear installation in Natanz. We've heard this name before. The aerial, all the aerial area above this nuclear facility was closed, and the national TV in Iran reported another explosion in Natanz. This is a huge military facility that was discussed multiple times in the international media of developing nuclear weapons, and Iran closed its aerial airspace up until further notice. Okay, this is the latest report now. So guys, this is the situation at the moment in Israel. The strikes against the nuclear facilities in Iran are happening as we speak. We have assurances from the United States that they will back us and defend us against Iranian retaliation strikes on Israel. And we ask you, wherever you are, to help us in prayer. Please unite in prayer for the peace of Jerusalem. Please pray for our pilots that are on the sky somewhere above Iran, or in the Middle East, or in the skies above Israel, defending this country. We need your prayers, because prayers work. What keeps us here is God and his faithfulness. So thank you so much for joining us for this report, and keep praying for the peace of Jerusalem.